Hi guys, it's Mitch here. I'm just coming on to do the Facebook card reveals for you all. So let's have a little look and see what we've got going on. So if you were drawn to card 1, we're going into the card of the flower, bleeding heart, and it just sort of says sorrow here. Now to me this card very much feels like a sort of equivalent or a representation of the Three of Swords in traditional tarot. It could be for some of you, if you've been drawn to this card at the moment, that you're feeling heavy loss, sadness. It could be for some of you that are going through sort of cycles of depression or anxiety. It could be for some of you, there's a real emphasis on like a grieving process, a grieving journey. And it could be that some of you are really battling stuff at the moment. There could be some health issues going on that are causing some restrictions, but sorrow is sort of coming in some format, in some way for you. It could be for some of you, you've recently lost loved ones that have transitioned to the spirit world, or you're seeing somebody around you that you love, that you care for, that is slowly sort of starting to deteriorate in terms of their health. So it could be showing in lots of different ways, in lots of different contexts for you at this time. But the key thing with this card, if you're up against that energy, if you're going through it, hold space, have an awareness for it, but be gentle, be easy on yourself. Don't be too self-punishing. Don't sort of beat yourself up for things that maybe you're having to go through and be aware of. Sometimes when sorrow shows, it isn't the nice side of being human. It can be quite an uncomfortable position to be in, but sometimes we have to just stop and hold space for it and think, I can't fast track this. I'm going to have to acknowledge this for what it's about, how it's about, before I can then sort of move forward. So sometimes we have to just embrace the shadow side of life, you know? So if you are going through this in some context, don't sort of suppress it. Don't try and ignore it. The quicker you acknowledge it and the quicker you kind of allow yourself to heal from it and just like have an awareness for it, that's going to be the sort of way to overcome it, if that makes sort of sense. You know, so it's an interesting card, but some of you that have been drawn to this one definitely are feeling a little bit fragile at the moment. And with that in mind, it's really important to keep life on your terms. Don't sort of, you know, say yes to loads of things that you feel you can't actually necessarily be fully part of. It could be that you're having to go a little bit slow, a little bit more careful along, and it's doing what you need to do to make your world work for you at this immediate space in time. But it's also remembering that this is temporary. This won't be how you feel forever. There will be sort of, you know, changes as you sort of venture forward. But at the moment, you're maybe needing to be in that space for whatever reason and to just work with it for what it is. Now, as we're kind of moving into card 2, if you've been drawn to this one, we're going into the energy of White Rose, and it just sort of says here, empowerment. Now, the energy is shifting quite a bit with this card. So for those of you that have been drawn to card 2, this is a time when you're feeling really alive, really connected. You're feeling really at one with the world and with the universe around you. And empowerment is all about kind of moving forward. It's about accessing that next cycle, that next phase of your life. It's a really exciting time for you guys to be alive. You're showing up and you're starting to really feel connected to something bigger and better. A lot of you will be tapping into a real higher sort of place of authentic energy if you've been drawn to this card, and a lot of you that if you've been drawn to this card will be really sort of focusing on what are you here to achieve, what are you here to discover, what are you here to be part of. This card is all about no more sort of compromising, no more plodding along or just sort of, you know, being in this rat race of life. This is about really owning the essence of your world and how you want it to be. So it's not just empowerment for yourself. By stepping up, by acknowledging these things, by harnessing your best kind of life, your best capabilities, you'll inspire other people around you. You'll empower others around you off the back of your own empowerment. So it's a really, really exciting time for positive changes. New cycles are coming in, and just a great time to access those hopes, those dreams, those goals, those aspirations. So you guys are feeling a little bit more on it at the moment if you've been drawn to this card. And finally, as we're going into card 3, we're going into the energy of the plant fuchsia, and we're going into confide. Confide is interesting when it shows, and this is all about not kind of, you know, holding so much to yourself that you feel like you're gonna spontaneously explode or combust. If you need to kind of confide within somebody, and when we think of the word confide, sometimes it feels a little bit secretive and a little bit mischievous and mysterious almost, but it's not necessarily. Sometimes it could be that there's just so much burden, heavy weight upon your shoulders, you maybe need to just confide within somebody to talk about stuff with no judgment, with no expectation, with no limitation. And this is the great thing with readings and with healing sessions, not just with myself. There are some fantastic readers in the world, and when we kind of facilitate a reading of any kind, it is that sort of energy of confide. It's great to have the connections with those in the spirit world or the guidance with the cards, but actually also this is about confiding, and sometimes it's just having that impartial person to talk to say, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, I need someone to talk to that I can get this burden, this frustration, this weight off my chest without being penalized, without being judged, without family members or friends or work colleagues getting on my case about it. So if you're holding stuff in, if you're feeling like you're going a little bit insane inside and you need somebody to confide in, whether it be a family member, a friend, or more of a professional service, a counsellor, a reader, a healer, you know, maybe it's a case of ringing even the Samaritan line or a line of that nature, and being able to confide with somebody in confidence. The key thing with this card is don't sacrifice your soul, your spirit. Don't suffer in silence, because sometimes we try to put on this show of life. Sometimes we try to be, you know, upstanding, the best of British that we can be, and we actually just break internally. And this card is wanting you to avoid that. So if you're struggling, if you need to reach out to somebody in a support group, however it's done or however you need to do things, open up. That's the key thing with this. Don't feel like you have to take on all of life's woes and worries and fears and problems on your own. And I'm not saying that I'm necessarily always going to be the right person that can help with this. It might not be something I can help with, but there will be somebody that will help you with this, you know. So if you are struggling, if you are sort of feeling like you're on a little bit of a sinking ship, communication is being encouraged with this card. Communicate your truth to somebody in some form or in some context, just to share that workload, because there's that whole thing of like, a problem shared is a problem halved, you know. And sometimes it's not until we're chatting to somebody and going through something that we realize how much we actually needed to hear it. It's like I said sort of in my video last week, I won a free reading with Amy Michelle. She's a fantastic reader based in Hensridge, and what was interesting with that is I didn't actually feel like I really wanted or needed a reading, but obviously the universe had other ideas. But just by speaking to her and actually talking and confiding with her in some stuff, it suddenly put me so at ease and at rest, and I thought, actually, this is what I needed to hear, and this is why obviously I had to win that reading. And I'm implementing quite a lot of things that was talked about in her session. So it's great validation for me, and it's nice to be able to see that things are moving forward past what that stuff was being picked up on. So it is important, you know. It's great to be a strong, independent person, but it's also okay, and it's giving yourself permission to be just as strong if you need to invite others in to help with things a little bit. So don't take on life's sort of burdens single-handedly, okay? Because there are great people in this world that have been through stuff. We all share a similar journey. We all share similar experiences, and we may be able to help, you know. So going to leave this card with you. Hope it resonates. Going to leave these with you. Stay safe, stay well. Have a fantastic week ahead, guys. And I will look forward to catching up with some of you at the various events this weekend. Hensridge on Saturday, Frome on Sunday, or also by a Zoom or Facebook video chat. So much love and blessings. Take care. Catch you soon. Bye.